Have you ever wondered what really happens deep in the woods, after dark, when the stars disappear and silence turns unnatural? This isn't your usual campfire story. What you're about to hear is unlike anything we've shared before. So before the forest swallows us whole, drop of blood, subscribe to this channel right now to help us reach our goal of 1,000 brave souls. And if you dare, keep listening. Because this next story is one that no one should remember. But someone did. And now, they can't forget. I didn't want to go back to Moonridge Forest. Not after what happened to Jonah. It had been 3 years since he vanished, right from our tent, while I slept just feet away. No trace, no screams, not even footprints in the dirt. The police said he must have wandered off, confused, or drunk. But I knew better. Something in that forest wanted him. And now, for reasons I still don't understand, I agreed to return, with my girlfriend, Brooke, and our 2 friends, Owen and Kayla. I told myself it was for closure. But deep down, I think I was hoping for an answer. Or maybe even a chance to bring him back. Night 1. The hike-in was oddly quiet. No birds. No squirrels. Not even the buzz of insects. Just the crunch of our boots and the occasional snap of a branch beneath our gear. Brooke was the first to mention it. "Where are all the animals?" she whispered, almost as if she didn't want the trees to hear. We set up camp near the center of the woods, right by a gnarled old tree that spiraled upward like a twisted claw. It looked like it had been struck by lightning decades ago, blackened bark, hollow in places, yet somehow still alive. We called it the Whisper Tree. That night, as we sat around the fire, Kayla asked the question none of us wanted to answer. Do you guys ever wonder what really happened to Jonah? No one replied. Not at first. Then Brooke cleared her throat. I don't think he left, she said. I think something took him. I stared into the fire and felt that strange tingling again, the one I hadn't felt in years. Like ice pressing into the back of my neck. That night, I had a dream. A voice whispering from the blackened bark of the tree. Not speaking in words. Humming. A rhythm, like. When I woke up, Brooke was gone. Night 2. We found her just after sunrise, standing barefoot in the stream, knees muddy, her eyes unfocused. She didn't remember leaving the tent. I heard singing, she said softly. I thought it was Kayla. Kayla turned pale. I didn't sing. I looked back toward the tree. A low hum buzzed in my ears again, just for a second, and then stopped. Day 3. We should have left. We all knew that. But Owen refused. We can't just leave Brooke like this, he said. Something's wrong with her. He was right. She barely spoke. Her voice came out like wind whistling through pine needles. She kept looking toward the tree. Sitting near it. Touching the charred bark. Like she was listening. That night, I sat up watching her. And then I saw it. From inside the hollow of the tree, something reached out. Long, finger-like roots. Slowly extending toward her, pulsing gently with each breath she took. I shouted and ran to her, pulling her away. She screamed. Not in fear. In anger. You ruined it, she shouted, her voice like static, like it wasn't entirely hers. It was going to tell me how to bring Jonah back. Night 4. Owen disappeared. No one heard him leave. No footsteps. No scream. Just gone. In the ashes of the campfire, we found a spiral symbol burned into the soil. Kayla started packing immediately. I'm leaving, she said. I don't care if it means walking all night. I agreed. Brooke didn't. She sat beside the tree, gently humming, smiling at something we couldn't see. When Kayla tried to pull her away, Brooke snapped. Not violently, but cold. Calm. If you leave now, you'll never understand. Last night. I don't remember sleeping. I just woke up in the dirt, next to Kayla. Brooke was gone. The tree was humming, louder now. Deep vibrations in my chest. like a heartbeat not my own. Then we heard the voices. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Calling from inside the woods. Calling from inside the tree. Whispering names. My name. Kayla's. Jonah's. We ran. We didn't stop until we saw the ranger station lights in the distance. They found Brooke 3 days later. Still sitting by the tree. Eyes wide. Smiling. Humming. But she wouldn't speak. And the tree was gone. Not cut down. Just missing. Like it had never been there. Only the spiral remained in the ground, charred into the earth. And sometimes, on quiet nights, I hear it again. That hum. Like wind through bark. Calling. Remembering. And waiting. If you ever see a tree that looks like it's listening, don't stay. If you ever hear your name carried in the wind, don't answer. And if you've made it this far, you've earned the right to know. Some stories aren't meant to be told. But if you want more like this, subscribe and join the thousands who dare to remember what should have been forgotten. We're just getting started. Have you ever been somewhere that felt wrong? Not haunted. Not cursed. Just wrong. Like the ground itself wants you gone. The story you're about to hear isn't about ghosts, or demons, or creatures hiding in the woods. It's about a place that remembers you, even if you forget it. I was 19 the first time I saw Camp Ashford. Except, according to every map, ranger, and satellite image, it doesn't exist. Let me explain. My friend Marcus and I had been planning a backpacking trip for months. We were both burned out from college, needed some time off the grid. Our plan was simple: 5 days in the mountains, no cell service, no distractions, just tents and trails. We set out from the Miller Creek trailhead, and after about 10 miles of hiking, we found a fork that wasn't on our map. No signs, no markers, just a faint path disappearing through some overgrown pine. Naturally, Marcus wanted to explore it. Naturally, I said no. And naturally, we took the damn path. We hiked maybe a mile and before we found it. A perfect, clear area surrounded by tall trees and flat ground. There were old wooden signs nailed to some trunks, their paint so faded you could barely read them. But one was still legible. It said, Camp Ashford, EST 1911. Marcus looked at me with this big grin. See? It's like we discovered a piece of history. But something about it felt off. There was no debris. No collapsed cabins or rotted benches. Just this empty clearing, like someone had erased whatever was once here. But hey, it was getting dark, and we were tired. So we set up camp. Night 1. The woods were unnaturally quiet. No wind. No bugs. No animals. I remember thinking the silence was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. Marcus laughed it off and said, maybe the forest is respecting our peace and quiet. But that night, I woke up to something moving outside the tent. Not footsteps. Breathing. Slow. Steady. Just inches from the fabric. Too low to be a man. Too controlled to be an animal. I held my breath. It lasted about 30 seconds. And then it just stopped. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Morning. I didn't tell Marcus. He wouldn't believe me, and I'd already talked myself into thinking it was just wind. We packed up our stuff to hike further, but when we tried to find the trail, it was gone. No path. No fork. Just thick trees in every direction. I swear it was right here, Marcus muttered, spinning in circles. We spent 2 hours trying to retrace our steps. Nothing. Eventually, we gave up and decided to stay put and try again the next morning. That was mistake number 1. Night 2. We didn't make a fire. It didn't feel right. We sat in the dark, whispering about stupid stuff, movies, music, old high school memories. Anything to pretend we weren't completely lost. That's when we noticed the trees. They changed. Some were closer than before. Like the trunks had shifted, just slightly. Subtle enough you might not notice, unless you'd stared at them the night before. But we noticed. Marcus got really quiet. I asked him what was wrong, and he finally said, "Dude, there were 4 signs last night. There's 5 now." I turned. He was right. 5 wooden signs. One of them was newer. The wood was fresher. The paint brighter. And it said, Stay until you remember. We didn't sleep. Morning. There were paths now. Not one. Not two. At least a dozen, spiraling outward from the clearing in impossible directions. Some curved like circles. Others bent in jagged, unnatural angles. We tried walking one. It led us straight back to the campsite. Tried another. Same thing. After the fifth try, Marcus panicked. He started running through the trees, screaming, crashing through branches. I chased him, but I couldn't catch up. After a few minutes, I heard him yelling. Then it stopped. I found him sitting in the dirt, crying. He just kept repeating the same thing. I saw myself. I saw myself. I saw myself. Night 3. We didn't speak much. There were more signs now. They circled the clearing. All painted with the same phrase. Do you remember yet? We both started having dreams. Mine were of a building, a lodge with green shingles and broken windows. Marcus dreamed of a well. Stone, moss-covered, with something inside calling his name. I begged him not to go looking for it. He didn't listen. At some point that night, he left the tent. Morning. I found the well. It was real. Exactly like he described it. At the bottom. Not water. Not rocks. Something else. Hair. Teeth. Eyes. Looking up. Moving in slow, unnatural spirals. Marcus wasn't there. Just his boots, neatly placed beside the well. I waited. I thought maybe if I stayed until dawn, the forest would let me go. But just before sunrise, the last sign appeared. Propped against my tent. Paint still wet. Welcome back. I ran. I don't know how. Or for how long. But eventually, I burst out of the trees onto a gravel road. There was a ranger truck. I collapsed in front of it, screaming. The ranger kept asking where I'd come from. I told him of Camp Ashford. He blinked. Never heard of it. I showed him where the trail had split. There was nothing there. No fork. No sign. No path. It's been 2 years. Marcus was never found. Every once in a while, I dream of the well. Of the spiral in the water. Of the signs. And now, I see something new in my backyard. A wooden sign. Weathered. Splintered. But still legible. It says, "See you soon." Some camps are on no map. Some places never wanted to be found. But if you ever find one, and the signs start appearing, don't try to leave. Don't try to understand. Just try to forget. Before it remembers you. Subscribe for more stories like this, and help us reach 1,000 brave listeners. Because you never know what story comes next. Or if it's already started. Have you ever seen something that couldn't possibly exist? Not a ghost. Not a shadow. I mean something that broke the rules of reality and kept going as if you were the one who didn't belong? What you're about to hear is a story I've never told anyone, not even my family. And once you hear it, you'll understand why. Before we begin, do me one favor, subscribe to this channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 brave souls, and if you're listening right now, that means you're one of them. Now turn off the lights. Put your headphones on. And remember, some campsites aren't on the map for a reason. I was 16 the summer I went to Camp Meriton. But the story I'm going to tell you didn't happen there. It happened somewhere else. Somewhere we were never supposed to find. Our counselors called it Off-Grid Friday, a one-night trip to a more remote part of the woods. No cabins. No lights. Just tents, firewood, and a single old map. We were split into small groups, 5 campers, 1 counselor. Mine was led by Dave. He was 25, quiet, ex-military, the kind of guy who could scare you with a stare. It was supposed to be a 2-mile hike. It turned into 5. The path grew narrower. The trees darker. The air colder. And then we found it. A clearing with a perfect circle of trees, like nature had carefully trimmed a space just big enough for us to camp in. Right in the center was a pond. It didn't ripple. Didn't move. Didn't even reflect the sky. Just black glass. We set up camp. As the fire crackled and stars blinked into view, one of the other campers, Lena, pointed at the water. "Does that pond look weird to you?" We all looked. She was right. There were no stars reflected in it. Not the moon. Not the fire. But we were. We could all see ourselves, clear and sharp, staring back from the water's surface. But then something even stranger happened. We waved. And our reflections didn't wave back. They stood still. All of them. Just watching. We laughed nervously. Called it a trick of the light. Dave told us to go to bed, probably thinking it was just a bunch of kids spooking themselves. I couldn't sleep. Not because I was scared, but because my reflection was still watching me. Even after I zipped up my tent. Every time I blinked, I saw its eyes burned into my mind, too wide. Too focused. Like it wasn't copying me. Like it was studying me. Around 2 a.m., I heard water sloshing. Footsteps in it. But when I unzipped my tent, the pond was still. Lena was gone. Dave searched with a flashlight, yelling her name into the trees. We found her standing at the water's edge, staring down at her reflection, and whispering to it. I grabbed her arm. Her skin was ice cold, and when she turned to look at me, her eyes were glazed over, like she wasn't fully there. She said, "They're not stuck in the water. They're waiting." We packed up that morning without saying much. Dave tried radioing the other groups, no signal. Said we'd hike back to camp on foot. Only, there was no trail. None of us could find the path we used to get here. Even Dave looked scared. So we chose a direction and walked. After 2 hours, we ended up right back at the clearing. Back at the pond. Back with them. And now, there were 6 reflections. We were 5. The 6th stood in the water. Dave's reflection. Even though Dave was sitting right next to me, that reflection stood up straight and slowly started walking away across the surface of the pond. It didn't cause ripples. It just faded into the woods on the other side. And Dave? He passed out cold. We tried everything. Walking. Climbing trees. Screaming. But every path, every direction, somehow circled back to the same damn pond. And each time we returned, there was another reflection. Another one of us. Until there were 10. And then 11. And then we woke up one morning and the pond was gone. Just grass. No water. No reflections. We were lying in a clearing that looked completely different, like we'd never left the main trail. The camp found us later that day. They said we were only gone for one night. But our watches, our photos, even our food wrappers showed 4 days had passed. That was 10 years ago. Lena doesn't talk to anyone. Dave disappeared a year later. No one ever found him. And me? I still can't look at still water. Because sometimes, when I pass a window or a puddle, I swear I see one more version of me than there should be. And sometimes, one of them blinks when I don't. Studio microphone *** OUTRO for your voiceover narration ***. If you ever find a campsite that looks too perfect, too still, turn around. Don't stay. And if you see a reflection that doesn't belong to anyone, run. Because some places don't show you what's there. They show you what's waiting. Subscribe now if you want more stories like this. Help us reach our first 1,000 true horror fans. And remember, not all reflections are yours.